will if you're sincere. But the intent here is to be clear in how Allah Azza wa Jal deals with us. So I'd like to share some things about that with you. As far as blaming myself is concerned, and where do we draw the line between this is from Allah and this is my fault? Where do you draw that line? In the physical world, it's very easy to understand. What do I mean by the physical world? In the physical world, if I instead of putting gasoline in my car, I put water in my car and it didn't work, then you don't get to say this was Allah's plan. That was you. So physically speaking, or if you're eating junk food and you're constantly eating all kinds of sugary foods and then you get a diagnosis for diabetes at the age of 45, then you don't get to say, Ya Allah, this marad has come to me. It's a test from Allah. No, it's a test of your bad appetite. You don't eat cucumbers. You eat Swiss rolls or whatever you eat. You've been downing junk and that's why this happened to you. You understand? So that in the physical world, the cause and effect, there's an effect. It's something that all human beings with common sense understand. In the moral world, you missed a salah. You woke up late. You didn't pray Fajr. And now you're praying it late. And then that day you had a job interview. And the job interview didn't go well. And you're like, this is because I missed salah. Now the answer to that is it may be and it may not be. And there's no way you will ever know. There's no way you or anyone else will ever know. But the thing that will help you is أَنَا عِنْدَ ظَنِّ عَبْدِي بِي. The thing that will help me is that Allah says, I will be as you assume me to be. If you're assuming Allah took revenge from you and put this on you because you missed Fajr, then that's who Allah is to you now. If you assume, no, this is better, this job, I tried my best, I did a good job at the interview, but this was not a good job for me. Had it been good for me, Allah would have let it go. Allah would have given me this job. If you have that attitude, that is who Allah is to you, despite all of your mistakes, despite you waking up late. Our job when we make mistakes is to make istighfar, not wait for Allah's revenge. Please understand that. Our job is not, I messed up, now Allah is going to get me somehow, it's going to happen. No. That's not what Allah does. Which is why Allah says, مَا أَصَابَكُمْ وَمَا أَصَابَكُمْ مِن مُصِيبَةٍ فَبِمَا كَسَبَتْ أَيْدِيكُمْ. Whatever calamity struck you, whatever difficulty you find yourselves in, a lot of it has to do with what you did yourselves, with your own hands. You brought this on yourself. And even in the spiritual sense, sometimes there are difficulties that come on us because of our deeds. If you are, for example, continuously horrible to your parents, and then bad stuff comes to you in your life, then probably there is some connection. And then in those kinds of cases, what does Allah do? وَيَعْفُو عَنْ كَثِيرٍ. He says He pardons a lot too. In the physical world, if I jump off of a second floor building, there are going to be consequences. Allah will not say, no, this time I'll forgive you, I won't break your leg. No, it's gonna happen. What's gonna happen is gonna happen. When you put your hand in a fire, it is gonna burn. Allah is not gonna, you prayed Fajr this morning, so no, not for you. It won't burn for you. That's not gonna happen. But when it comes to spiritual consequences, He says, وَيَعْفُو عَنْ كَثِيرٍ. When you do a sin, then Allah says, actually, Allah lets a lot of it go. He doesn't just avenge immediately. He doesn't just take, immediate account and then make you suffer in this world because of the mistake you made. He doesn't do that. That's the nature of Allah Azza wa Jal with us. وَيَعْفُو عَنْ كَثِيرٍ. This is something you have to internalize for yourself. I would argue the reason I brought up this particular subject is because one of the greatest crimes, spiritual crimes, that occurs every day in the ummah is at the hands of loved ones to loved ones. Parents, spouses, husbands, we have sometimes the worst things to say to our loved ones. And sometimes we say those things in the name of Allah. Allah will punish you for what you just did. There will be justice on you. Allah will not forgive what you know. And mother can say that to her child, wife can say to husband, siblings can say to each other. Like invoking, like Allah is some angry weapon that you can invoke because you're upset, Allah must be upset. And you can just use Allah like that. That's not our place. And for a lot of people, they have heard this kind of thing so many times over and over and over again that they have become far away from Allah Himself. They heard from their loved ones. They heard from a child heard from his father or his mother all the time. Allah will punish you if you don't pray. Allah is going to get you if you don't pray. Allah is going to, Allah is very angry at you because you ate that cookie. Like, constantly, Allah is angry, Allah is angry, Allah is angry. When that young boy becomes a 16, 17, 18-year-old, he wants nothing to do with Allah. And when he hears Allah is merciful and Allah is forgiving, he has a hard time believing it because that's not what he grew up with. He did not grow up with an Allah who is forgiving or an Allah who is merciful. As a matter of fact, every time he got in trouble is because of Allah he got in trouble. That's how he got in trouble. And then those same parents say, we taught this child about Allah from the beginning. I don't know why he's running away from deen. Yeah, but which Allah did you teach him about? An angry Allah? An Allah that seeks to punish? مَا يَفْعَلُ اللَّهُ بِعَذَابِكُمْ? Allah says, what's Allah gonna get out of punishing you? That's what Allah says Himself. What is He in just the business of coming after you? Going at you? So what happens with people? They are in a difficult situation, and what do? They're constantly thinking Allah is getting them. Allah is hurting them. Allah is doing this to them. I was reminded by a colleague of mine, when I was coming here to Malaysia, out of nowhere, this has never happened, I developed this crazy bacterial infection thing in my tonsils, and it swelled up, and half of my neck was completely blocked, and I felt like I was drowning in one nostril, and I was still on the plane, and I get halfway through to Abu Dhabi on the way here, I run over to a clinic, and they say you have to take these heavy medications. I come here, the recommendation is I should go to surgery. I was like, what is going on? And they even told me this never happens. Like, this is really crazy. In my entire career of 30 years, I've seen like one other case of this. And I'm lying there in the hospital bed waiting for a surgery to take place, and I'm thinking, and I was reminded by a colleague, this is the best place you could have been. Like, there's no better place than this hospital bed for you at this moment. That is Allah's plan for you. Here I am thinking I have to cancel this program, I can't go over here, I can't go over there, how are we going to manage this situation, that calendar, that meeting, all this way, I came all this way, and now look, I didn't get to do this, that, or the other. And then all of a sudden, just that little reminder, you're just like, yeah, this is the best place I should be. There's no better place, because this wasn't planned by me, this was planned by Allah Azza wa Jalla. This is entirely planned by Allah. We have to have a closeness to Allah that when He plans something for you and me, even when it's painful, He doesn't do it for anything except love. That Allah Azza wa Jalla loves His ibad. That He loves what is best for them. He loves us more than we could ever love ourselves. He cares more for us than we can ever care for ourselves. He provides us more than we could ever provide for ourselves. When we forget that, guidance goes away. Allah says, وَمَن يُؤْمِن بِاللَّهِ يَهْدِي قَلْبَهُ. In Surah Al-Taghabun, on the same issue, whatever calamity strikes you, it comes from Allah, it came by Allah's permission, and whoever can have iman in Allah at that time. You have iman in Allah anyway, you believe in one God, but when you're in a difficulty, that's when you start questioning, why is Allah doing this, right? That's the time when Allah puts the words, وَمَن يُؤْمِن بِاللَّهِ. Whoever can truly believe in Allah, then